Proteus is a very fun, retro-style first-person shooter. The overly violent yet old-school style to the graphics creates an inviting set of visuals. The music feeds into the action very well, and there's plenty of options and content to enjoy. What really makes this game hard to put down is the minute-to-minute gameplay. The opening levels do a good job of hooking the player, while some might see the checkpoint system as having this game be a bit too easy at times. Overall, it's an enjoyable power trip and one that is very good either in solo or co-op play. Let's go over the basics. You will be spending most of your time shooting at something in Prodeus. If it moves, then you probably need to kill it. The shooting is incredibly satisfying from the quality sound and impact effects. Guns sound powerful, unique, and deadly. Enemies burst into fountains of blood when you shoot them. It is like every monster is made up of Sam Raimi blood effects, just waiting to explode. Adding to this is how individual body parts from enemies can be blown off. Everything from hands, legs, and even the upper and lower halves of bodies. The Doom-like power fantasy is on full display, and that makes it very hard to put down. You have many different weapons from a pistol, shotguns, machine guns, plasma weapons, and more. Each of the toys are fun to use, and many of them come with their own alternative fire. The pistol can turn into a burst shot weapon. The shotgun can be charged up, along with others providing even more options. Proteus does a really good job of allowing the player to find their favorites, along with pushing the player into using most of your arsenal. So some guns will use the same ammo source, so from that same set of 3 weapons, you'll probably find something that you prefer to use when using that ammo type. But since your ammo supply is not the biggest, that means that you need to use all the other weapons that you have and experiment with them. You sort of get the best of both worlds. You will find preferred weapons within each class of ammo, along with being pushed into trying new weapons. Each of the levels are full of secrets, and as such, you will usually know where you need to go, but there are plenty of opportunities to explore, find gold or supplies to help you out. The secrets add into the replay value. In many cases, a game's introduction can either make or break a game. This is your first impression of the experience, and since there are so many options available to someone, a weak intro can mean skipping over a game entirely. But in the case of Proteus, it does a good job with it here. The first few levels are a nice mix of interesting visuals and a good drip feed of providing new weapons to the player. I honestly think the first few levels and the general feel of them are my personal favorites in this game. It is a strong blend of playing with new weapons, fighting new enemies, and learning how the game works. Proteus does keep up the momentum after this, but the beginning levels really are well done. And since you'll be doing a lot of shooting, thankfully there are plenty of different enemies to encounter. You have the melee fodder, heavies, a variety of gunners, flying enemies, and much more. The campaign levels come with an appreciated set of variety with vertical levels, ones that circle back to the beginning. There's a really memorable one where you need to contend with a set of snipers up in a tower. They can see most of the map, and you need to slowly work your way through it to get up to them and then take them down. You'll find yourself watching your movements, trying to dodge their fire, along with all of the enemies on the ground. The campaign has plenty of these one-off type mission designs that help to keep everything interesting, along with other gimmicks like setting off traps to kill a set of foes. Now there is some modern progression in the game in the form of gold. Runes are used to unlock levels, and gold is used to unlock abilities like the double jump or new weapons. The campaign does feature side missions where you use specific weapons and complete a level catered to that weapon. Now the entire campaign can be played in online co-op, which is a huge plus, and along with this there are options for making your own maps and playing other people's creations. I toyed around with the user-generated content, and I generally found some really good, fun levels. Most of what I played was really good, and in some cases it felt like it was done by a professional game developer. There is multiplayer too, but the user-generated content honestly means that this game is endlessly entertaining. A neat feature which I thought was pretty cool is how you can rate levels after you complete them. I think this is a great way for the developers to get on-the-fly feedback on their creations. Now overall, Proteus is a very fun game, but I do have some small flaws with it. Some of the platforming can be a little bit annoying as you miss platforms that you feel like you should be able to get to. Thankfully, the double jump eliminates this once you unlock it. I do like how in the shop you can use shooting ranges, but they also use up your ammo, and the game doesn't really tell you this, so you might find yourself with less ammo for your next level. Proteus features a campaign, custom maps, co-op, and multiplayer. Sadly, I was unable to play the multiplayer as it seems like the population of people playing this on the Xbox is not interested in this mode, so sadly I cannot comment on this area of the game. While I understand that they are a lot of work, I do think that if bots were included, it could mean that you could preserve the multiplayer forever, and while I haven't been able to play the competitive multiplayer, I could see this being a very fun mode. Now my next point honestly really isn't a flaw, but I need to mention it. Proteus can feel a bit too easy at times with how the checkpoint system works. Enemies do not respawn, so some of the challenge is taken out of the game. But at the same time, this also means that the game quickly gets you back into the action. So death is a punishment in that it interrupts your gameplay flow that is so enjoyable. I don't really have a problem with this for Proteus. This is a player empowerment type of a game, and it leans into it very heavily. One other thing I want to mention was how I think the developers missed out on a key feature that would have been cool to include for the console version. With Proteus being a retro-style boomer shooter, and having co-op as part of its design, I think it should have included an option for two-player split screen. This type of stuff isn't common on PC, but consoles used to provide this with most of their shooters. I think it was a missed opportunity to not include this here. This isn't really a flaw or a knock against the game, but more so a suggestion and one that I would like to see added in. Before we move to the conclusion, I need to mention the soundtrack. Like I said at the start, it fuels the action very, very well. If you're a fan of the style of the recent Doom games, then you're going to like the music here. Here are a few tracks from the game. Overall, Proteus is a very fun first-person shooter that historical fans will enjoy and younger players should definitely play. The minute-to-minute action is so good that it's hard to put down. The visuals and music all work to heighten the shooting as well. The campaign is really solid with the option for co-op. The custom maps means that there's an endless supply of new free content to enjoy, and this type of stuff should be promoted more, especially within the console space. I always love seeing what fans can create with the tools provided by the developers. Sadly, I wasn't able to play the multiplayer, so I cannot comment on this. And just because the checkpoint system can edge this game into being a bit more easy, that honestly doesn't really hurt the intensity of the entire game. I found myself naturally trying out just one more level from the custom maps because I enjoyed this stuff so much. I recommend Proteus. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.